I'm the Executive Director of the Arts Council of Monterey County, and we're excited to have you all here and our great speakers talking about social media. I'm not an expert on social media. All I know is that people really like pictures of cocktails and tacos. Yes. So we have the experts here. I'm going to give you a little bio on them. Paul Richmond is an internationally recognized visual artist and activist whose career has included exhibitions and galleries of museums throughout the United States, as well as publications in numerous art journals and anthologies. His work is collected by individuals around the globe. I have one.
That's the important one, right?
That's right. As an illustrator, he's created over 400 novel cover illustrations. Wow. He's co-founder of You Will Rise Project, an organization that empowers those who have experienced bullying to speak out creatively through art. He is also executive director of Art Makes Us, a virtual creative space dedicated to, I can't see too much, to providing opportunities for each individual to discover and nurture the artist within. And I've said this many times, I wish I could clone them. This man is constantly working. I don't know if he sleeps, but he's great. And so is Jess. Jess Ansberry is a visual artist specializing in acrylic and watercolor painting, hand lettering, illustrating, and art installation. She's the owner of Progress, Not Perfection paint parties. Jess recently teamed up with fellow creatives Niall Estep and Chris Powers to launch local art and business collective, The Shop in Monterey, as well as locally lit workspaces with entrepreneur and candle maker Johnny Foster. Jess loves to create art every day, collaborating and helps inspire individuals to find and follow their creative journey. Both of these artists are teaching artists for the Arts Council for Monterey County, so they're very important to us also. So I'm going to introduce Jess first to start our.
All right, this is so exciting. So I'm Jessica. It's nice to see everybody. I have 4 Instagram accounts, which is about 4 too many. No, but I'm going to focus on a couple of them today and not get into all of them because I try to apply the same ideas to each one. But when I was thinking about the art of social media, I don't know about you guys, but it made me think about like the internal journey of social media. There's a lot of stuff I had to get past, I think, in my own thinking when I started trying to put myself out there, my art out there. You know, you're putting yourself out there. And I just want to say right off the bat before I forget, something I really had to like drill into my head was a not like on one of my posts does not mean a dislike on what I created or who I am, right? And that really kind of messed with me a little bit when I first started posting stuff. No one's liking it. They must not like it. And that's not necessarily, that's not the case, right? So I just wanted to say that before I get into it because I don't want to forget to say that. So yeah, the art of social media. I'm really going to focus mostly on Instagram and Facebook. I'm in the wrong area. There we go, I'm right here. I'm really going to focus on Instagram and Facebook. That is where I found the demographic for me is heavier. You know, at the beginning of my journey, Facebook got the most engagement and my Instagram got no engagement. And then eventually they both get great engagement. I'm starting to venture into other areas like TikTok and things like that, and I have a younger than me friend who's going to help me do that because that's not where I'm at yet. So the 2 pages I'll talk about, I have Jess Ansberry art, which is my personal art and my personal art journey, and I love sharing that with people, and I found that people really love to see that. So when I'm learning a new art skill, a new medium, I start with challenges for myself, 30 days of drawing portraits, and I post them all. wonky portraits on day 1 through the whole thing. I post about my family, the whole process. I do a lot of time-lapse videos. People like to see time-lapse videos. I started doing those for myself because I like to watch the video and I can see the point where in my brain I went, I just messed up, but I kept working through it and I get to see the whole video and see where it kind of changed. That's been helpful for me. So I started putting that out on social media. Come to find out people love time-lapse. It's great. It's a great, easy tool you're already gonna be creating. Just set up a camera and hit time-lapse. And you'd be shocked at how long you can be painting and how short that little video comes out. So just do it as long as you want and then see what you get at the end. So that Jess Ansberry Art is one of the accounts, and then the Progress Not Perfection Paint Parties is the other. That's my business account, but I cross-post sometimes, like I'll just post the same thing on both pages or a slightly similar message, but my message throughout the whole thing, no matter which form of social media I'm on, which workshops I'm leading, is really just enjoying the process. And so I try to share that with people because the outcome, it's great to have the outcome, the finished piece, the sale that you make from the post, those different things. But if I'm not enjoying like from step 1 through whatever the end step is, it's just not fulfilling or inspiring for me. So I really try to kind of show that journey through social media. And it's fun just to post some pictures and throw a story out there. I like to talk, so writing captions. Sometimes they are very long. But, so I put the important information at the beginning. So who is my community is something that I thought about almost from the beginning when I created my business social media accounts. My community started showing itself to me almost right away. It's a lot of family, friends liking it, sharing it. The community kind of grew, and I really try to think about the engagement and the followers as my community. For me, I really want to engage with the people that are engaging with my different pages because they're people that have become extremely important and close to me throughout this journey because we engage back and forth in messages, comments, different things like that. Some of them text me. I have no problem, giving them my phone number and they shoot me texts or phone calls or emails. And that has just been like an extension of, they're an extension of my family and friends, this whole community. So I really try to think about my community, and then I seek engagement from the community. So I'll get into like some specific engagement in a little bit, but again, like I said, I really want to engage and want them to engage. I want them to be like invested in the process. At the end of the day, on my Progress Not Perfection Paint Parties page, it does create revenue for me. It sells tickets to different events. I get messages about maybe a commission. I get a message on do you do classes one-on-one for kids, and I can direct them to my kids' camp. And there's different things like that. And on my personal page, I end up getting some really great messages about do you do classes, but also I get these messages that will say, I haven't been active on your page. I'm watching your journey for the last year, and I think I'm ready to finally start trying watercolor. I've been so nervous. I want to get out there. And that either opens up conversation with me and them, and eventually they take one of my watercolor workshops or not. I just want everyone to get the benefits that I've gotten from creating art and being social even when I don't want to be, and different things like that. I just want people to get those benefits. So messages like that are really why I love social media so much. So I think about who's not in the room. There's a lot of women at paint parties, and that is fantastic. I'm like, where are the guys? Like what? So I kind of look around, and at the beginning, there was an older demographic. In talking with people, they're retired or able to sort of take these midday workshops I would do. I've adjusted times on my workshops and things like that. But the people that were in the room were a specific person and a lot of the same kind of demographic. And so that's when I really started to try and vamp up my Instagram presence, because I wanted to just see if I could reach other people. So I do try to post pictures when there is the guy that shows up with the wife and they do a date night, you know. The kids, I have all ages now painting with me and working with me, so I really try to do a post for different demographics that will maybe create some interest. And then where's my audience? Like I told you at the beginning, for me it's Instagram and Facebook. It doesn't mean my audience isn't other places. I just, right now, for what I'm comfortable with, I found my audience to be on Facebook and Instagram. So I do a lot of my posts on Instagram, super easy to just click share to Facebook. And then it took me about a year and a half to find that button. That was a lot of posting. So finding that button, if you don't know about it, share it right to Facebook, right? So engagement, you know, getting engagement from my community. I really, like I said at the beginning, a not like doesn't mean a dislike. But the reason I do like to see some kind of action on there, whether it's a like, a follow, people sharing, resharing my posts or my stories, is because I don't know much about the Instagram algorithm. I just know that as people see it and interact with it, more people have a chance to see it and interact with it. I ask for comments from my community, so like, what do you guys want to see painted on Friday? Not a lot of them respond, that's fine. If they don't respond on the post, I get a lot of DMs and a lot of private messages, because that's kind of the community that I've created with them. They just message me and tell me what they want to paint. And then I always think about like, what's the intention of my post? So if, and that leads into the call to action. So if the intention is just to share the process, sometimes it is, it's just fun, share the process. That's what the message of the post is about, you know, it's a caption. Sometimes it's, I like to celebrate the people that have helped me so much along the way. So there's a lot of posts about my family. My family shows up to the paint parties and the workshops. Whenever I go on vacation with my wife, I disappear in like art journal, right? So I love to post like her standing way over there and me over here art journaling, you know. So sometimes that's the intention of the post. Sometimes it's look at what we created today. If you missed this, if you missed the chance to create this at this class, check out the next one. And then there's got to be like a call to action, right? If you'd like to check out the next one, visit. I can put the website, or visit link in bio, where you can put the link in your bio on Instagram. I've created a shop on my business page so I can put the actual link to that ticket. Because I don't know about you, but I flip on my couch when I'm in bed. You know, everything needs to be on my phone. And if I have to find where this thing is, I forget about it before I find where the website is, you know? So I try to make it as easy as possible for people to take the action I'm calling them and hoping that they will take. And that leads to other things, checking my website, making sure after I post the link that if I click the link, it actually goes there. And, you know, I don't want to be a liar. Is the link in my bio? You know, did I put it there? So I try to make that as user-friendly as possible, because I also don't want frustrated customers, right? And then they'll let me know at the party, man, it took me 8 times to get this ticket, this website kept, and I love when they tell me that, because I can go in and troubleshoot, like, why did that happen, you know? Nothing, I don't know what I was gonna tell you there. So these are some examples of posts that are, some of them have been on my personal art account. All of these are from my business account. And these are just different examples. So, that's fine. So there's me and my dog. I share everything on my business page, almost everything. And during the pandemic, everyone really got to know my dog Betty. And she hung out in my home studio, and the journey of Betty. And I shared with people the year of Betty. I took her everywhere. And so when she passed away, like, I got things dropped off on my doorstep that I could not believe. A set of earrings that was a watercolor version of Betty that one of my watercolor students made for me. I'm like, a keychain, you know. Someone brought me a Betty bonsai tree where you can water it, and here's Betty's tree. And so now I post about my new dog Fiona. That's Fiona the pug. And so when I go to events or I see people around, they're always asking about my dogs, my wife, my sister, you know, so, but I also do pet portraits, and that was a friend of mine's pet that passed away, so that's an example of a very real emotional story was in there. And also, if, you know, if you're interested in a pet portrait, send me an email, you know. We got to be part of the Don't Say Straight art show at the Dolly Museum, and I love celebrating the arts and local art, and also it's a very important show in my life for many reasons. And so there's me, my wife, and my sister, and I posted about the show, a little recap and where people could see it. Everyone knows my wife and my sister because I talk about them all the time. And then this is an example of a post where I could put the link right to the ticket. So sometimes it's just the painting we're doing in the ticket. I love cross-promoting other businesses, so I do paint parties at McIntyre Tasting Room. And so I love celebrating other businesses, and they celebrate me. And then here's my shout out to the one guy that came to the pet portrait paint party. Side note, I've known her since 3rd grade. We didn't talk for 25 years. She showed up to a paint party, and we've been like fantastic friends ever since. So that's like the community that can grow up around you. So keeping your community engaged. My community grew during the pandemic. A lot of people, I think, saw a lot more conversation via social media because we couldn't see each other face to face, you know? So the community grew through the pandemic. I did a lot of complimentary paint lessons and demonstrations on Instagram and Facebook. What that led to was I thought my business was closing. I did complimentary Facebook paint parties. They got shared everywhere. My Facebook page numbers grew. I started interacting. I was telling Paul before this, a woman who's an art teacher in Puerto Rico messaged me and said, I've been watching your videos. She sent me a version of a video. She said, is it okay that I do one with Mike? And I said, oh yeah, I didn't invent virtual paint party. Do whatever you want. So she sent me a video of her doing one in Spanish with her students and some of the teachers. We've emailed back and forth regularly for like 3 years. We would check in on each other. What's it like in Puerto Rico? Where are you guys at? What are you doing? It was interesting how they did the shutdown. Certain streets were allowed out of their house for an hour to take a walk around the neighborhood, but they were on like a timer on when they could do it. Anyway, she's fantastic, and I never would have met her, right? Also, a woman emailed me a picture and said, my daughter, I love these live Facebook parties, thank you. My daughter, I can set her up with the computer, and it's totally appropriate for her to just follow along. You know, they're all family friendly. Fast forward, she works for Google. Hey, could you do a virtual party for a Google team? I did 10 virtual parties for Google teams every month through the pandemic. I had to figure out how to buy supplies, ship supplies. This woman helped me the entire process along the way. So it was just, I need to paint and talk to people because that's what I know how to do. And I just did these complimentary things, and it turned into, my business was absolutely saved by these complimentary parties, you know? So I continued to do them because I got great feedback from the community and how it saved them emotionally, you know, or spiritually, or what, you know, because we all went through some stuff. I don't have a monopoly on that. I like to think that I do, but I don't. Again, sharing the process through time-lapse, IGTV, live stories, and reels. I'm very new to reels, but I'm having kind of a blast with them. I have no idea what I'm doing, but they're really fun. One day I just had to try it. The reason I put live stories on here, this is just kind of a technical thing. For me, it's hard. You can't upload a really long video to Instagram. So what I do, sometimes I announce I'm going to do it, sometimes I don't. I just go live with my camera view, and I just talk and do a watercolor lesson or whatever I'm doing. And then from there, you can save it to your page, and now you've got it saved. So that's my workaround from trying to upload a really long video that I can't upload. So I do the live so that it's right there to save, and then I can refer people to it when they want to practice watercolor in between workshops or whatever it is that we're doing. And then celebrate your collaborators and favorite artists, businesses, and locations. That's a great way to market yourself to where you want to be. So when I say like who's not in the room or where am I not, I go to that location, I bust out my art journal, I tag that location with my art journal page or whatever afterwards. you know, I collaborate with a lot of different locations around town, so I love celebrating them. It's not always about, come to this party, it's about, do you guys know about the women that run the McIntyre Tasting Room? Because they celebrate local businesses, and they helped me a lot during the pandemic. And so that kind of stuff is just, again, like what, you know, who's in your community, and my community has grown to collaborators, favorite artists, businesses, different locations, and so that's my part of my community. These are some posts from that kind of celebrate that stuff. So this is one of my favorite artists too, Avellino. Man, I love bidding war, and I won that painting. I about had to drag someone out of the room just to get it, but you know, I like to celebrate local artists. There were some political things going on all the time, right? So I did a video on a pride painting I did with my wife and I's little brides there. I don't know why, some of these were on my personal page, some on my business. I just felt like I needed, in case no one knew on my business page, I needed them to know, like, this is who I am. And I didn't say this, but I also kind of thought, like, if you're not into it, you gotta go. You know, and I didn't say that, but like, that's the community I want to be surrounded by, and those are the people I want to engage with. And so we went to Colton Hall. I went with a friend and just taught her some watercolor, and I created a Colton Hall painting. So I love tagging like the city of Monterey, the recreational department, you know, and now they know about me if they didn't, and maybe I get to go paint in their parks and stuff like that. And then this was through Peb Portraits. A woman reached out and said, hey, I know you do Peb Portraits, and I've seen your time lapses of your calligraphy. Can you create a menu for a wedding based on the bride's 3 pugs? She also was like, and I know you have a pug, so you know, so like everything I just talked about was like in that commission, right? And that commission came from a post that had like 8 likes. It had the right likes, you know. So that's again why the numbers, they matter and they don't, right? So for tools, keep it simple. I wanted to keep it very simple. This is what I use, right? Like, I finally found a spot that has some okay light, great light, doesn't cast a lot of shadows, right? And I can clamp this guy on here. Now I have 3 of those, so pretty inexpensive. And I can get you the name of it at the end. I have 3 of those, one in my studio that I opened, one in my studio at home, and one in my van, because you never know when you're going to pull over and paint, right? Or do a live painting. But that thing, you just prop it however you need to, and then you're good to go. Record live, not live. You can go live from it, but you can also do time lapse and everything else. So lessons I've learned along the way. I might have already told you. First one, did you press record? The amount of times I'm like, I can't wait to watch this back. They killed it. And then it's nothing. It's 2 seconds, and it's me going, ah! So did you press record? Sometimes you have to not press record to remember to press it. Mark the spot your camera's going to see. So when you set up your camera, I'll put my masking tape where the camera sees, because I love to flip stuff around and really get going, and half the video you can't see what I'm talking about. Background music will get your video muted. I love painting the music. I'll go, you know, it's Paul Simon Day in the studio, and I've got, eventually someone hears that and your video gets muted, so it will unfortunately like waste your video, you know. If your dog snores in the video, go with it. If your wife walks in, say hi to her and keep moving. Mine are very unprofessional video. They're very mean. Not that I'm unprofessional, but they're very mean. So my wife walks in, I'm like, hey, how's it going? Come say hi. She's like, no, I don't want to. You know, the dog's always snoring. The cat's jumping on, you know, whatever. People know all about my life, so it's fun when these people make cameos in these videos. Be yourself. Your community loves you. They love you. If they are there, like, they're there for you, you know? So I've adjusted how I post things and what I post a little bit, but like my core message just kind of stays the same, which is like, get uncomfortable, do something that makes you uncomfortable, try something new, you know, and that's why I share all the different things that I try on social media, even the really weird drawings and paintings. So I had a reel that was viewed over 6,000 times, and boy, was I walking on clouds. I was like, I nailed it. This thing, I got it. It was viewed by no one I've ever seen, heard, engaged with, or that even follow my page. That's fine. other artists saw it, and lots of people saw it, and that's fantastic. Looking through it, I was like, that's exciting, but I didn't see familiar names, and so to me, I don't know, it's exciting, but like, where's my community in that, you know? It's fun to have on there and let people see it for sure, but then, like I said, a picture or post that was liked about 12 times turned into 3 of the coolest commissions I've ever done. One was that wedding venue. Now I do wedding venues, you guys, it's turned into that. One was I did live painting at the art gala, and now I have like 3 more events that I'm gonna be live painting at because people saw that, right? So, someone who quietly followed my watercolor journey for a year finally decided to give it a try, and now we paint together several times a month. So that was, like I said, I got a message, and she said, oh, you're so nervous, and it took me a year to message you, you know, and this whole thing. And so now when I go out to Colton Hall, I'm like, I'm just gonna watercolor randomly, I have some time off. I message her, and she's like, I'll meet you there. It's like turned into this friendship and relationship that I couldn't even have imagined. So, oh, is the video gonna load? Dang it, that's fine. It's fine, I'll show you on my phone after if you really wanna see it. But in conclusion, do not take yourself too seriously, enjoy the process, share that with others, and your community will grow. Start where you're at and go from there. You know, if I have 200 followers, my goal doesn't necessarily need to be 10,000 followers by the end of the month. I've been doing this page, this very active business page for over 6 years. I maybe have 1,700 followers, it's grown to that. I can tell you almost who every single one of those followers is though. Like it's grown that way from one event, one interaction, and I know those names and I know those people and they know me. So for me, that's important. So yeah, so the video was all the kids at art camp holding up their pig paintings and going squee, and they were home. It was adorable. So sometimes it's just a fun post that makes people happy, right? So yeah, so I think that's all I have. I could tell you 10,000 more things, but Paul has a lot of good
Seems to be a very popular one for art. I use that one a lot myself. Everything that I'm going to share with you is really relevant to all of the platforms, and I think it's important to find the ones that work for you, just like what Jess was saying. You don't have to be everywhere, you just have to be on the ones that you're able to connect with people through. Let's see if I can spin it. Okay. Here's me, I'm an artist. I do mostly large figurative paintings. And social media has been very important for me as an artist because when I first started my career, I'm not standing in the right place. I'm not good at standing still, you guys. All right, I'll try. When I first started my kind of professional art career 20 years ago, the type of work that I was making really was not accepted in a lot of mainstream art galleries. I paint a lot of LGBT themes, and a lot of my work was sort of seen as too illustration-oriented at that time. So I knew that if I wanted to make a living and reach people, I had to find another way to get to them. And social media was critical at that time. It was really just sort of starting, and I jumped right on it. I'm clearly not shy, so I put myself and my work out there as many places as I could, and that has made all the difference for me in my career as an artist. So I want to share a little bit about that with you. And also, I love teaching art. So during the pandemic, my friend and I started a business called Art Makes Us, where we teach art online. We also do a lot through social media, but we do Zoom classes, workshops, private lessons. And social media has been really important for us in getting the word out about that as well. All right, so we're gonna start at a cocktail party. That's how I kind of like to think of social media. When you are on social media, it should be social. That's the important piece of it. And Jess was saying very much the same thing. Some of this will be a repeat, but you want to sort of approach it like you would if you were in a room full of friends. So you want to share your own interesting insights. You want to show interest in others. Nobody wants to invite that person that only wants to talk about themselves all the time. You want to have fun. It doesn't have to be the super serious, scary thing. You want to engage. You don't want to talk about yourself nonstop, even though that's what I'm going to be doing right now. But I unfollow those people. You also don't want to aggressively try to sell, because nobody enjoys that either. There are more subtle ways that you can still get that message out that something is available for people to purchase without constantly saying, please buy this, please buy this. And you ultimately, and most importantly, don't want to pretend to be what you aren't. I think authenticity is so important. It's what people respond to. I think that's the one thing that has helped social media to be such a good vehicle for me, is because I've always been very much myself. That's the only thing I know how to do. So I would encourage everybody to do the same thing. There are so many benefits to being on social media, raising awareness about what you do, what you have to offer. Connection, for me, that's huge. It's about people. It's not about typing something into your phone or into a computer. It's just like being in this room with all of you right now. It's just reaching a broader audience that's not limited by geography. And also engagement. Jess was talking about that a lot. It doesn't matter if you have 100 followers or 1,000. If you're not talking with people, if you're not going onto their pages and liking what they've posted and commenting and creating that connection, then there's no engagement there. So you're missing out on a great opportunity for that. What about sales? Because we do need to make money as artists if we want this to be our career. That happens as a result of everything else. People become aware. I think social media is mostly about raising awareness about you and about your work, and then the sales will follow that. I don't always think of social media as being the primary driver of sales for me. It raises awareness. People begin following me. Maybe they sign up for my email newsletter. They visit my website. Then they buy something. So it's kind of like you have to think end game. It's not you might not sell the piece that day. It might be a few days later or something like that. All right. Before we go any further, I have to make sure that you all know some basic fundamentals. When you're taking a selfie, not down here, ever. Bad angle, bad for the chin, always up. All right, so let's practice. Everybody smile. You'll see this on Instagram later if you follow me. Flip it around. 1, 2, 3. I just took 3 pictures. You have to give yourself options. That's also very important for selfies. And photos of anything. Don't just take one, because that could be a blurry, terrible mess, and you'll be so sad later. This is from the Arts Council Gala a few years ago, by the way. So you can make selfie time anywhere. And this was sort of meant to be a joke, but also, don't be afraid to stop in the middle of something and document it. I mean, you don't want to live your life on your phone, obviously, but see how quickly that was, and now we're right back to the presentation. It's great to capture what's happening so you can share it later. You don't have to post it right then, you can save it. All right, so let's talk about awareness first. Being genuine, be genuine, because it's more fun, and that's what people respond to. Also, social media is a great place for you to go and find inspiration. It's not just about sharing your work and building awareness, but it's also about helping raise your own awareness of what other people are out there doing. And it's great research. I follow all the artists who I want to be like, and I see what they're posting, what hashtags they're using, what galleries they're showing at. It's like this whole world at your fingertips that didn't exist before. And so, I learned from that. It's really, it's inspiring, and it's also research. And along those lines, you can get a lot of industry insights too, not just by following artists, but also by following different organizations that are relevant to the kind of work that you do. So it could be art blogs, art magazines. If you're creating work that speaks to a certain demographic, follow those organizations that also reach that group, because then you'll just start to get connected. And also, the more connected you are with people who are sort of in your circle, the more that the social media algorithm will link you to that and show you to people who are looking for those things. So there's many reasons to do it, but the biggest one is just because it's really fun and it's inspiring to see what other people are out there doing. And it can lead to awesome opportunities for exposure when you really share your work. So this was a time-lapse video that I had posted a few years ago, and then I got a message from George Takei, who I love, I've been following forever. Well, not from him, from someone who works for him. Less impressive, I think. But he does a lot of videos on his social media, so they asked if they could license my time-lapse video, and then they added the text and stuff like that, and put that out. And of course, he has a much bigger reach than I do. The video was maybe seen by 10,000 people when I posted it. When he posted it, it was 3 or 4 million people, and that's made a ton of sales and stuff like that as a result of that. So always check your private messages, your DMs, whatever account you're on, because you might just get a random crazy request like that. I can't take credit for most of the great things that have happened in my career, because most of it has been just random things like that. Like an opportunity will just show up, and it's because I've put so much out there. If you follow me, you know. It's also about connection. Like Just said, it's not about numbers. Meaningful connections are what's important. So don't feel like your account, your social media presence is insignificant if you have a small number of followers, because that may be all you need to start with. But also, all of those people have connections to others, and if they start engaging with you, then the people in their circle will begin seeing your work too. So it just kind of organically spreads. You're never too small. I just joined TikTok a few weeks ago, so I have only a few hundred followers on there. But you have to start somewhere, and so we'll see where that goes next. I love using social media, just like she said, to promote other people. Whenever I go to another artist show, if I see someone doing something inspiring in the community, I post that, I tag them, I share what they're doing. I think that that's just a really important way to use these tools, because other people have done that for me too. That's how it works, and it's a great way to really just connect and use it for good. And also, it's a great way to do outreach to charities. So this is a quick story I'll share with you. Last May, well, a couple months ago in May, I saw this wonderful post from this organization I follow called Outright Action International. And they were doing this work to help rescue LGBT people who lived in Ukraine. And I wrote to them, or they wrote to me, I forget. Somehow I started having a conversation with this organization, and I said, if there's ever anything I could do to help support your work, let me know. And they said, well, actually, we're doing a fundraising gala next month. Would you like to make a painting, and we could, auction it, and that will help raise funds for what we're doing here. And I said, sure. So then the next thing I know, I'm doing this painting. I'm sending them, time lapses and photos of it so they can share it on their social media and build excitement for their event. And then they ended up selling it at their auction, and it was purchased by another activist group called Global Citizen. They invited me to then be part of their virtual unveiling of the painting at their Pride celebration, which was this huge event. None of that would have happened if I had just had that little conversation in the DM saying, I really love what you're doing. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know. So those conversations are so important. A lot of times I think we're trained to think that the opportunities just fall in our lap, someone will reach out to us, but also a lot of times it just happens organically from having conversations with people that you really support and want to be a part of the work that they're doing. So that was a cool thing that just happened that became much more than what I thought it would be. Oh, and this is a real fun story. This is where I just get to show off a little. But it illustrates this point really well. So I've always loved Dolly Parton since I was a little kid. I just loved her. And I made this painting probably 15 years ago. It might be kind of hard for you guys to see, but it's The Wizard of Oz, but with Dolly as Glinda. And then me wearing my mom's heels here, getting ready to go down the yellow brick road to Dollywood. And that was basically my childhood, or at least what I imagined. And so I made this painting for a show like 15 years ago. And ever so often, when I feel like it, I'll post it again, because you want to recycle old stuff, especially she's still like super popular right now, maybe more popular than she was then. So I'll post it and tag her and stuff. randomly, out of the blue, I got a DM one day from Dolly's manager. This was like a year and a half ago, I think. And I didn't know it at the time, but he had found me because of this. And he actually had bought a print of it. I didn't know that either. And it was hanging up over her makeup stand for the last 10 years. She's had this thing. She loves it. He said that she like laughs. She thinks it's the coolest thing. But anyhow, that's how he found me. And then he started following me. And then it turned out that she needed a painting for her living room in her house in LA. And because he was already familiar with my work, he saw all my other posts and knew that I love using bright colors and everything. He said, would you like to make this painting of butterflies to hang in Dolly's house? I was like, yeah, I think I might make that time for that. so I did, and then of course here's very happy me sitting on Dolly's couch in her living room when I got to take it down there and hang out. So I'm like so ecstatic about it. But all of that happened again because of the social media posts. I would have not had that connection to people who were so close to her to make these very real life things happen if it had first, taken place virtually. So I can't emphasize it enough that you never know what will happen if you start putting your work out there. You might not be sitting on Dolly's couch, but whatever work you do and whoever the people are that are connected with that, it can open up doors that you couldn't even imagine. And then engagement is so key. Don't post and run. I love talking to people. Even people, you can imagine with some of the work I do, there's a lot of people who really hate it. And I'll engage with them too sometimes. I have to keep that to a minimum because I don't always want to have that kind of energy around me. But sometimes, I feel the need to respond to those comments too, just as I would if they were standing in front of me saying that. But mostly it's about just fostering a spirit of community. And it's not a community if you're only talking to people and you're not listening to them. So with our online business where we do art classes and workshops and mentorship, we do a lot of different virtual events, just like what Jess does with the paint parties. We do, actually Anne, the very first one that's right here was Anne's event that we did a month or two ago. That was a book release party for a children's book that she wrote that just came out. But we interview artists, we do Instagram live streams, we do online art shows, where we do virtual events for everybody to get together. So it's a whole world that you can unlock right there in your phone. Has anybody in here ever gone live on any platform before? Raise your hand if you've ever been a part of a live stream. Okay, some of you have. All right, this is my challenge for you. Everyone needs to try it. It's scary, but for the first time, but it's so fun because it can be, like she said, very unscripted. The dog can come in, it doesn't matter. You're just talking to people. But that's, whenever a social media platform rolls out something new, you want to get right on that because that's what they're going to give priority to. And so when lives really became popular, we started doing a lot of those and we reached so many people that way. So don't be afraid. You're not going to mess up. I mean, you might mess up, but who cares? Is really the point. It doesn't matter. I have so many things that I look back through my social media feed and I'm like, oh God, what was I thinking that day? But it doesn't matter. Some things will land, other things won't. It's okay. This is hilarious. A few years ago, I made a coloring book, an adult coloring book of pinup boys. It was like the pinup girls from the 40s and 50s, only I used male models. But before it was a coloring book, it was just a weekly free coloring page that I would put on social media and people could download it for free, and I just wanted it to be this fun thing. Also a way to drive people to my website. And so what happened was people all around the world started downloading them, coloring them, and then posting their pictures. And it turned into this much bigger thing than I expected. A publishing company reached out and wanted to make a book of it. So then we did that, and we did book coloring parties, all over the place. We had like these nightclubs with big coloring pages all around. But it all just started from free giveaways and like the paint videos that she did throughout COVID, giving things to people. First of all, it's just a nice thing to do, and it engages with people because everyone doesn't want to pay for stuff all the time. Sometimes it's nice to just go and do a free thing, but then it can lead to something else, something bigger. it again just raises awareness of what you're doing. With our anti-bullying project, it's called You Will Rise. We do a lot of that kind of work too, a lot of community building. This was a project we did called Selfie Respect, where we invited people to take a selfie holding a sign that says respect me because, and then they could fill in whatever. And that we got thousands and thousands of those, and then we turned it into a big art installation. So thinking about, this is sort of a big project that was done for our organization, but are there ways that you can take what you do with your own artwork and invite people to somehow contribute? Maybe if I'm thinking of Anne, you're sitting right there because I'm just gonna pick on you. Anne does these awesome micro graffiti illustrations or paintings that's like these little monsters and things, and we were just brainstorming the other night about how she could take those and do really cool things on social media, maybe like posting pictures of the monsters all around town, or inviting people to post pictures with the monsters and stuff. So it's about taking what you do naturally and thinking about how to make it more of a community affair. All right, here are some tips that work for me. That doesn't mean they'll work for you, but you should try it. The thing with social media is everybody has to find their own rhythm with it, and just be authentic. And something that works well for me might not work for you, but you can have a totally different path. So one thing I love to do is scheduling my posts. I'm not somebody that wants to stop in the middle of a fun event and have to think of what I'm going to caption it and what hashtags I'm going to do. I would much rather spend an hour once a week and schedule all my posts for the week, and then I'm done. I don't have to think about it. If I'm doing something really fun, like today, I'm having fun hanging out with you, I might do a post in front of this that is not planned. I might just go ahead and post that in real time. But I know that I've already got my posts for the week scheduled out, because like she said, I manage a lot of social media pages. I've got the Art Makes Us, the You Will Rise, my personal. If I was trying to post to all of them all the time, I would never be able to do anything. So Loomly is my favorite. You can schedule posts to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram from there. You can schedule videos, you can schedule photos, and you can do as many as you want. So there are times when I'll be a month out in my posts. I don't even have to worry about it.
Do they just remind you oh, it's 2 o'clock, it's time to make your post on Facebook?
No. You go into this program and you tell it when you want to. You create the post, you upload the picture, you type the caption, put your hashtags, you can tag people, whatever you want, and then you just forget about it. They post it for you.
They put it up there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing. Yes.
Do you always stay true to your schedule, in the sense that if you have scheduled different posts and the world has some events happening that are contrary to that or just spontaneous, do you still stick to the schedule, or are you flexible and go, okay, this is more important now than my scheduled post?
Yes, you have to stay flexible, because absolutely, if I have a post scheduled that's really light and playful, and then something horrible and dramatic happens in the world, you don't want to seem like you're just way off base. So you can always go in. Loomly's great. It presents it as a calendar, so you can see the posts. You can move it to another day, or you can just delete it, whatever you want to do. But yeah, stay flexible. Yes.
I just want to make a comment, because I've been following you for years and had no idea that you can schedule your posts.
Good. That's the goal. You want to make it sound fresh.
Really behind the scenes secret.
Don't tell anyone.
It seems so organic and authentic, I had no idea.
It's all fake. No, not really. It's genuine, but it's just genuine from a week prior. Yeah, but that keeps me connected with the real world too. I think a lot of people have this fear of social media that if you start getting involved with it, then you're going to just be consumed on this all the time. And I don't want to live like that either. So when I'm with people, I'll take pictures, I'll take selfies with people, I'll photograph interesting things, but I do the posting at a time that's just kind of designated for that. I highly recommend this. This makes a huge difference for me. Okay, timing is important. If you post your stuff, in the middle of the night, a lot of people aren't going to see it. And you want to think about time zones too. So not just what works here, but if you're trying to reach national national audience or even an international audience, what are the times that will work best? Loomly's great because it will actually make recommendations for you, and it sort of learns as you go, and it pays attention to which posts were more successful. And there will be times when I'll go to schedule a post on there, and it'll say, "Are you sure this doesn't seem like a good time that works for you?" And I'm like, "Okay, you know better than me." There are websites you can go to that will recommend times, but the thing is, every expert on this has a different answer. So the real answer is you need to try it yourself and try like intentionally posting at different times of the day, even similar content, and seeing when it's the most successful for you, because this varies so much depending on subject and on the audience. So it's kind of trial and error. Yeah.
There is a function on Instagram, for instance, that allows you to check your demographics and the time and everything. Would you mind
Oh,
telling us
nice.
about that?
Oh, I didn't even know about that. That's cool. Go to that. Is that in the settings on your
Yes,
page?
yes.
Okay, oh, that's cool.
You can see the demographics, male, female, age range.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Time that of the posts are more successful than others,
Oh,
and so
okay.
forth and so on.
I knew you could see the demographics, but I didn't know it had time. That must be a good thing. That's cool. Yeah, check all that. You want to be organic and have fun with it, but it is good to be strategic. If you're going to post stuff, you want people to see it. So I don't think it's icky to plan. All right, let's talk about Instagram Reels. Just talked about this. They're my favorite. I love them. And they started becoming popular because of TikTok. You'll see that like one social media app will do something, and then suddenly now it's everywhere. So there's TikTok videos. On Instagram, it's called Reels. It's also called Reels now on Facebook. You can do Reels from your Facebook page. And on YouTube, it's called Shorts, I think. Yeah, Shorts, which are the same thing, just these little, usually vertical, short videos. And I'm going to walk you through the process of doing it on Instagram, but it's the same process essentially on every program. And a reel, like I said, is just a short video, and it can be a combination of several clips all mashed together into one video. So you want to start with a collection of videos. So these are some videos that I took when Brian Beach and I painted the mural at Art Park in Sand City. You can see, well, probably didn't use this one, but since it's 0 minutes long, but a lot of them are short. Some of these are way too long for a reel, like this 5-minute one, but you can go into the video and trim it right on your phone. So I like to sort of edit all my videos just from my phone first before going into the Instagram or TikTok or whatever to put them all together. And I'll even take all of the relevant videos that I want to use on a reel and put them in a separate folder in my phone, so that if I edit them or if I tweak anything, it doesn't affect the original. So this is like a grouping of videos that I've just thrown into a folder on my phone that I think, okay, I want to make this into a reel. Then you go onto Instagram. How many of you have made a reel before? I like polling. Okay, well, it's not bad. Measuring for pretty quickly. All right, so you go onto Instagram and you click this little plus in the top right corner, and you click Reel. Now, interestingly, they just announced yesterday that all videos on Instagram going forward are now going to be Reels. So it's good to learn this process. It used to be, I thought it was kind of confusing. They used to have us call other videos something different. At one time they had IGTV, a lot of different things. But now everything's a Reel. So if you want to do a video on Instagram, this is how you do it. So you click on Reel. Then down here at the bottom, you're going to click on that, and you'll select all of the videos that you want to put into your reel. Add music by clicking on that, and they have, this is a great way to be able to incorporate music that won't get your video, silenced, because it's being licensed properly. So you can choose pretty much anything that's a published song they have. And what's great about it too, when you choose a song, especially directly from Instagram or TikTok, it will sort of make some recommendations of where to cut all of your video clips so that it will kind of time it to the beat. And you're gonna feel like you're a producer at MTV or something by the time you see your finished piece. Like, wow, I'm amazing. It doesn't always work though with your content, so everything is flexible. You can always go in and edit, extend or trim the clips, but it's kind of nice that they do that bit for you, at least as a starting point. You can also do a lot of other things up here. You can draw on it, you can add text if you want. Those, I didn't want to overwhelm everybody. It's good to just get the videos out there first, but then start playing with all those other buttons. Obviously that's for type. You can do filters. You can do all kinds of stuff. So it's fun. It's fun to play. But then, after you click next on that last screen, then you just kind of come to a page that looks very similar to what it would look like if you were posting anything on Instagram, where you can add a caption, hashtags, you can tag people, which is always a good thing to do. If they're like completely irrelevant to what you're posting, but if there's some connection. You can tag locations, which are really, really good thing to do, especially if you're trying to promote something that is location specific, because then it will show that post to more people in that specific area. If you have an Instagram shop and if there's something in the video that they can purchase, you can tag the product, and then you just post it. Facebook ads, Instagram ads, paying to make people see your stuff. That's a good thing to do too sometimes. Because especially if you are posting something that you want to sell, social media algorithm is sort of designed to not show that to as many people, especially if you use words like purchase or buy this, or if you put a price or anything like that, it's going to automatically not show it to nearly as many people as it would if you did have that. So one way around that, well, there are a few ways around that. One is to actually just pay to make them show it to people. So you can go into the ad center in Facebook, and if you have your Facebook and Instagram accounts connected, you can actually send the ad to both places. And you can go into the ad center and create an ad. You can also just bypass that part, and when you make a post on either of those platforms, it'll give you the option underneath it to boost the post. And you can click on that little button. It's a little blue button underneath, and it says boost post. And then you can choose the demographics, who you want to see it. So if your work is targeting people with particular interests, like if you paint landscapes, you might want to target people who love nature, or who are interested in buying classical art. It has a whole search engine in there where you can search for interests and locations and stuff, and you tell it how much you're willing to spend on the ad and how long you want it to run, and it will just keep showing that ad. I'm sure you've all seen sponsored posts before. You might not have known that's what they were, but you're seeing it not because it came up organically in your timeline, but because someone paid that platform to do it. And you don't have to pay a lot. You can test it out. You can do a $10 ad and just see what happens. And then if you start to get some response from it, you can go back into the ad and put more money into it, and then it will show it to more people. Another workaround for that issue of Instagram and Facebook not showing your posts to people, if you say buy this or click here to purchase this or whatever, you can always just say like details in the comments, and then go into the make a comment on your own post that has that information. So it's kind of weird. Did that make sense when I just said that? Okay. So like you make a post, here's my new painting, it's awesome. Look in the comments for more details, and then in the comments, I'll go on my own post and make a comment with the link to my website where they can purchase it. If you put that in the comment, the post will be seen by a lot more people than it would if it was in the actual text of the caption. So it's just little sneaky workarounds that have worked for me. Well, whatever you post, you want it to be eye-catching. The less text you have on it, the better, usually, unless the text is really organic and supports with the image really well. But in general, it's just you want your content to really catch people's eyes. So take the time to manipulate it. There are great apps. I use Snapseed. It's a great app for just adjusting lighting and making images sharper, brightening them. Maybe not wrong. I do a lot on YouTube. I've been on there for a long time. I've had a lot of good opportunities from that. So with YouTube, consistency is really important. People who follow you on YouTube want to see that you're posting on a regular basis. So I try to make a new video every week. And in every video, you want to encourage people to subscribe to your channel. On YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, you can do live streaming, and I do it on all of them, and with different results in different places, but YouTube's a great place for that also. I know that there's already been a whole other session on hashtags, so I won't spend a lot of time on that, but I create a library of hashtags that I put in the Notes app on my phone, so that I'm not having to come up with new hashtags each time, and I sort of pay attention to when it seems like they're working. Usually 9 hashtags is a good number, a good max for Instagram. If you do more than that, it's going to choose the 9 that it wants. So I always just try to stick with 9. And you want to have a mix that are some that are broad and some that are really specific. Yes.
Where do you position your hashtags? I found out that varies. How do you find out when and where? Like there was a time where you posted the hashtags in your actual post.
Yes.
And then later I was told, no, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's an actor in Europe, and he told me recently, no, put them back in the comments.
I know. You have to bounce around. Yeah. I think I did the very same thing. Now I'm back to putting them in the caption again, but I will do a few spaces down. So I'll type my caption, and then I'll do return twice so that there's a little gap, and then I'll do my hashtags right in the caption. And I think it does get more play now if they're actually in the caption instead of in the comments. But I think the goal of both of those strategies was just to sort of hide them a little bit so that you look less desperate. But now at least I do them in the caption. Yeah.
Related to that, are you doing a different line for each hashtag or
No, I
comments?
bundle them all together. No comments.
No comments, just one after the other.
Yeah, just put a space in between them.
A space, okay.
Yep. And no space, if your hashtag is multiple words, no spaces in between the words, no punctuation or anything like that. And it doesn't care about caps and that kind of stuff. You can use emojis in hashtags if there's a popular hashtag going around that incorporates one. This is really actually very important. You want to make sure you fill out the profile section on whatever social media platform you're on, because that's how people who are interested in what you're doing will find you. So go in there and put good pictures, put a description, put your website or a link to how they can reach you. Fill out all of those fields and use keywords that are relevant to what you do, because that will make your profile come up more when people are searching for you. If you're an abstract painter, use that word abstract in your profile, because people will find you more easily that way who are looking for that. Recycle. Nothing ever gets wasted. You saw, I was saying with the dolly painting, I probably posted that thing 20 times, because every time I do, it's brought about new results. Throwback Thursday is a good excuse to haul out old stuff. That's a hashtag that really not so popular anymore, but I still use it because it gives me an excuse to show old things. But just incorporate that into the flow of your new content. It's very important, I think. And it shows new followers what else you have done. cross-promote, put your social links everywhere in your email signature. I have all my social media links. I have it all on my website. You want to make sure people can find you. If it, like she said, if there's one opportunity where they're looking, that's the time you have to capture them because they're not going to look again. I also love Linktree. Has anybody ever heard of that? You can create a free account on Linktree and then put all of your links on there. So you can put your website, all your social media links, and then also links to anything that's relevant that's going on in your world at that moment. So I have a link to Monterey Peninsula Pride because I'm involved with that. That's happening tomorrow. And then you can just get rid of them after the event's over. But then you have one link to your Linktree page that you can post in your bios on your social media accounts. And when people click on that, they get instant access to everything that you have going on. So it's a nice, easy way to be able to kind of share all of that information at once. And you see people on Instagram a lot will say link in bio for various things. So that's the way to have all of that. Fly your freak flags. People, be yourself. Don't try to package yourself in a way that you think other people want you to be. And don't try to think, well, I'm just a small independent artist. Nobody is going to want to follow me. Because actually, being small and independent is such an advantage. If you follow any big corporations, they're all trying to pretend that they're small independent people. You've already got that. That's our strength. So do that. There's all the places you can follow me. I'm sure you're going to go click on all of those right now. That's all I got. Thank you all. Now you should come back up now. We can answer questions together.
Yeah, we're just gonna take a few more minutes here for questions and answers. So-
Do you have one?
I do.
Yeah.
It's a little bit away from this, but it relates so much to the artist community here. Are you considering, or would you consider your art in the NFT world?
I have not really gone into that realm myself. So
What was the question?
To it, but
We didn't hear the
Yeah.
question.
What was the question?
We didn't hear the question.
oh, would I consider doing NFTs?
No.
I'm not opposed to it, but I just haven't explored it. So I don't know. What about you?
I am not the same answer. A lot of people say, you should turn your art into NFTs. I don't even know what it stands for. I know that-
I do know that part.
Yeah, tell us what it stands for. I have not.
Non-fungible token.
No.
Non-fungible token. So you're basically selling the idea, but not really a physical thing. I like selling the physical things, so probably not for now. But who knows? If someone wants to pay enough for it, I guess I would.
Can you explain the difference between a post and, I think the other option is a story on Instagram?
Sure. You want to do that?
Yeah, so a post is something that you're going to post to your actual timeline on Instagram. And in the post, like Paul was showing on there, it can be a post or a reel. And that's going to be there for people to see when they want to scroll through your Instagram feed. It's there. It's on there. It's always there unless you decide to delete it. The story is something that is in your story, like when your icon is lit up, it means you've got an active story in there, and it stays in there for 24 hours, and then it disappears. So sometimes I do a lot of things every day. I can't do 10 posts a day. I mean, I can, but a lot of it I'll just share in my stories. I can tag friends, they can reshare it, all that stuff, and then it disappears 24 hours after you've posted it in there.
And that
So
was something
that's-
they stole from Snapchat. When
Yeah.
that became really popular.
Right. So it's something that, like if I'm at an event today, when I get there, I can take a picture of the entrance and go, happening today, 11 to 3. That type of stuff is what I would do.
And it pops up
In
in
this-
all of your followers on the top, so it gets more.
Yes, yeah,
Notice.
yeah. And you can, when you click on your own story, you can see the amount of people that have viewed it. So I do like that, because you can't see on your post how many people viewed it unless they like it, but in the stories, you can see how many people it reached, which is fun. Yeah.
Speaking of, you can post all day long. Would you say there's a fine line between too many posts and too few? So what's your kind of range? Because there's some people that are just posting, and then it becomes like spam.
Right.
It's like, oh, God, stop.
I think that's where the stories are really helpful because I'm the same way. Like I always want to share a million things, but then it kind of gives me a place to put. You can put as much as you want in the story. Nobody cares. Some days I'll have 20, 30 things in the stories, but then for your actual posts, it's better to kind of edit that a little bit more. You know, one or a few a day is probably enough.
Yeah.
Does the story not come up on your timeline then?
Right, it's not on the timeline, it's just on Instagram and actually on Facebook too. There's just little circular icons at the top that show people's profile picture.
Right.
And if they have an active story, their little profile will show up on, you know, their friends.
And so you actually have to click on it.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you get lost looking through stories and then.
Right.
I would say about the frequency of posting too, kind of like Paul said, I'll do 1 or 2, especially on my business page, maybe max 2 a day, because sometimes I got a lot going on and I want to promote it.
Yeah.
So I've switched to doing some of that in stories, but I just think I don't want anyone to get annoyed and like silence notification, like silence me from their feed, because they might forget to turn me back on. And so like you said, if it starts to feel like spam, I think of when I keep going, this guy again or whoever, I think, oh, have I been posting too much too? Because I don't want anyone to think that. I want to keep them engaged.
I've definitely tiptoed up to that line of being annoying before because I get excited. I want to show people.
I do it all the time.
But you know, you kind of get a sense from seeing what other people post and like how frequently they do it. So yeah.
I'm kind of new to Instagram, and so I just want to clarify the main difference between stories and reels. Or this.
Oh, okay. The reel shows up in the timeline, so it's actually like on your page, and it's there. You know.
So it stays there
Yes.
forever. It's not just like somebody views it and then it's gone,
Right.
and then you
Right.
a reel you can go back to and be like, oh, I did that like last month or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And so a reel is always a video. I mean, it could be like a slideshow of photos, but it's a video. And your story could be anything. It could be just a photo. It can be a video too, but it, like she said, will only be there 24 hours and go away.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Can you recycle reels and lives?
When you do a live, then at the end of the live, it gives you the option to save it to your timeline or to your feed, and then it becomes a permanent part of the page. Or if you don't want to, like if it went badly, you can say no, and then it will just go away.
Okay, Instagram Reel, maybe I missed it, but you had a folder there, we had several videos. Say you had 3 videos, 2 minutes each, so you clicked on the folder, and so you end up with a 6-minute?
You have to import each one separately, and it will kind of show you, like there's a little slider basically that kind of shows you where it is, and you choose how the length. I mean, generally reels are shorter. There's a maximum length for them. Usually, I just do 1-minute reels because I find that's where our attention span is these days. But you can do longer, especially now that reels are becoming the default video. I don't know what the max is.
I want to say it's 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
And I have shoved all the content in there to hit the max.
Yeah.
I've got more views when it's about 1 minute. I don't want people to miss the message of it, so I try to keep it a little bit shorter.
Yeah. It's actually a really good process because at first if I have 10 minutes worth of content, I think I could never possibly edit this down. But then once you start, you realize actually making it more compact gets the message across more clearly. So it's really a good thing, I think.
Can you put a time lapse video of like painting progression in your reels?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you're like, this is a 2-hour time progression video, it'll chop it up into reels for you.
Well, if you're doing a 2 hour, if you're painting for 2 hours and you film it in time-lapse mode, it'll probably only be about a minute.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
the
It'll
beauty
just
of
be
time-lapse.
super fast in
Yeah,
one reel.
and what I like in the reel is even with my time lapse, when you post a video or a reel or a time lapse in the reel, there's an option to increase the speed.
Mhm.
So if I have a lot of time lapses and it's still going to get me over a minute, I can increase the speed even faster and view it and see if you can still get the point of it. If it's too fast, maybe it doesn't make it in there. But yeah, you can increase it, I think, half a time more, 1 time more, 2 times more, 3 times more, and that'll get you more content in there.
And you don't ever have trouble uploading these?
No, if you're doing it through the reel, no.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
The disadvantage is people are very disappointed when they see you painting in real life and they see that you're not really that fast.
Like it was much more SuperWorks having.
Why are you so slow?
Why is this taking so long?
So with music in the background, you had said, love the Simon's article today. Was that kind of the flag that?
So it was in the background of my studio. During the pandemic, I was just playing music and painting. So I'd be doing live videos and you could kind of hear it. And I'd say, this is my favorite playlist. And that, at some point, that clicked in with Instagram for the copyright, and I get that. It took about 6 months. A couple of them took 2 days. And you get flagged and it'll say, video's been blocked from people viewing it. So people saw it, now it's no longer there to view. So when you do reels and that kind of stuff, going with that approved music, now you've done it the licensed way. And that won't get your stuff muted. It was too clear in the background to where it was like I was using their music as part of something I was creating, so.
Now, if you are making a video for YouTube or something and you want background music, there are resources for copyright-free music. There's actually a YouTube audio library that has all music that you can use that will not cause any of those problems. But same thing will happen on that platform. If you use a licensed song, they'll flag you. And on YouTube, it's a little better because they just won't let you monetize it. The money that is generated from the video goes to the artist of the song. So the video will still play, but I want the money myself, so I'm good.
How important would you say it is to use the Facebook Ad Center monetarily? Like, how important is it to give money to Facebook?
It's helped me a lot.
Okay.
It helped me, especially at the beginning row. You can choose what you want the ad's intention to be, to grow your audience, to generate sales, that kind of stuff. And so it helped me reach the audience I was looking for at the beginning.
And it's not reoccurring. You can choose.
You can choose, and you can do $10 increments at a time. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank
It's
you.
wonderful because when you're just starting out, it's a great way to put your work in front of people who are interested in what you're doing.
Just real quick though, you do have to have a business profile in order to do that. So if you haven't upgraded your art page from a personal Instagram, you're not gonna see the options they're talking about until you've dedicated it as, and nothing happens to you, you don't have to pay anything, but you have a lot more options and you have the ability to pay it.
Is
So-
that a page that, like I have a business page attached to my Facebook page, is that?
Yes, then if it's set up as a business page, then it's already good. On Instagram, though, you do have to go through a process of letting them know you're a business. And I would encourage all of you, if you're putting your artwork on there, do that, because it's gonna give you so many more options. Yeah.
Well, that goes right into the question I was gonna ask about how you decide whether or not to just put your art on your personal page or to create a different page with a different name.
Make a professional page. You still post on your personal page too, and a lot of times what I'll do, especially when I was starting out and I didn't have anybody following my professional page, I would post to the professional page, then share it to my personal page from there so that all my friends and family and stuff would see that and then go follow the other page too. But I post the same thing to both places a lot of times. But you want a business page so that you can take advantage of all those tools.
So I have a question about that because I've tried linking my Instagram posts, which are on my business page, to Facebook, but it shares them straight to my personal as opposed to my art one.
Oh,
So
okay.
I wasn't sure how to switch that.
There should be a way for you to go in through the back end to let it know that it's that the Instagram business page is connected to your business page and not your personal. I don't know if it would be on the settings in Instagram or you might need to go into the
I
Facebook.
think it's Facebook, and I think you definitely have to do it from a laptop or computer, not your phone,
Right.
to kind of see it better. I can't remember why exactly, it took me a little digging around. But that does happen sometimes, but there is a way to switch it. I believe through Facebook, yeah.
I have a question, obviously, raising my hand.
That was the best introduction ever, by the way. That should have been on TikTok right there.
How important is vlogs? I know like what we were talking about with doing the reels is kind of like a video blog. But but we didn't touch on, you know, at one point they were saying, if you want to be known, you gotta blog and write these long butterfly poetry.
Yeah.
How important are those now as opposed to like what you're saying about the videos and the reels? Because that sounds like it's just a video blog.
It is, and I think that the era of blogging was huge. When I first started, like 20 years ago, I think blogs were the thing. Now, people who have interesting content want to share it that way, they're still using them, but they're sharing the links on all the social media, they're making videos that say, go look at my blog or whatever. So I think that personally, I don't blog now. I mean, for me, blogging is posting on social media. But I think, you know, if it works for you though, you should continue doing it. Everyone has to find the vehicle that suits them best. Do you blog?
I do not. I just talk a lot and write.
Yeah.
My life is a blog.
Yeah.
I think you touched on it, that the attention span has changed.
It has.
So, books are still valuable for taking time to